Welcome to the next lecture. We're going to see how to create your own config converters. So we have for example, greeting name, right? That's a one field, and in a greeting config, for example, we expect a one field in return. Let's take, for example, a situation where you have a Grpc connection string, right? It has different types of parameters, starting from username to password, right? Host, port, and similar things. And basically, when you inject this config somewhere, right, you don't expect it to be just a string. You expect it to be like some sort of object, right? And that's what we're going to see today, how to create objects that will serve you as a converters to your specific value, and how to create values itself. Let's imagine that you want to have a base 64 converter. You want to set the value here to some value, right? Greeting base 64 name, for example, right? And here, let's put here a base 64 string, and we want, as a return, as a result of it, have just a normal string. So in order to convert something into the base 64, we're going to convert it hello. We need to echo firstly, echo without the new line. Let's say hello, right? And then after the pipe, we're gonna say base 64, and we're gonna get a result required as a string. So it's a base 64 hello in base 64, basically. Okay. So now we need to create some object that will hold this value, right? So let's name it base 64 value, for example. And we expect it to have a config with a string base 64, for example, right? And we're gonna have a private string, string value. So value will be something that will return from this object. And so let's convert it straight from the constructor. This value equals base 64, I think, decoder, get decoder, decode base 64, and then I think we need to have a new string as well. Oh my god, what's going on? Okay. All right, so now we set the value, and actually let's return it with a toString. For now, this will work. So we don't need any, okay, we don't need anything, just let's return a value. And just for ourselves, let's create a get value as well, just in case. So that's there, right? One more thing that we need to do, and it's actually exactly what we're interested in, is we need to provide a converter. So we created a class, right? And it's not definitely will be 100% a string that we expect, even though technically it can be okay for you. So in some logic, Quarkus can think if you have a constructor with a string, then let's just inject this value into constructor, and then let's see what it's going to do. But in microprofile, basically works the other way. So you need to specify one converter. So let's name it the same way, base 64 value converter. All right, and it will be it will implement converter look for the Eclipse microprofile config, and it will convert a value in the generic. You need to specify what you want to expect as a result. And here technically, of course, you can, so string Okay, string is something that will be taken from application properties or where you define your value. And the output of this function will be your custom class, basically, right? Custom config. So here, in our case, we just can do base 64 value, and we'll input a string like this. That will be more than enough. So in more complicated cases, you can specify something more here. So you can just, split a string into two, create two objects, and then put them both into something like array or something and return it back. In our case, it's super simple. Basically, we get the string from config, place it directly into constructor, and return the object, right? So now what we can do is to go to greeting service, and with the same way that we've defined anything else, let's put a greeting base 64 name. We just define a property without anything new, right? Base 64 value. Just instead of a string or integer or I don't know, double, for example, right? We're writing our own class, and so what was it? Name. Okay, so it will be a name. So one minus of this is that we can't put it into the greeting config, because it will think that it's basically like in our country config, for example, it will think that it's also some way or another sub config in some case. So, but when we just inject it with this way, this will work perfectly. So let's see, and I'll say straight from here that it won't work, because one more thing that we need to do is we need to put this base 64 value converter in specific special class that will be located in a meta-inf services and then org eclipse microprofile config SPI converter. So here you just need to put your new converter. What is this? Now you can see that it's already located this for us. So you just need to put a package and the name of the class here. So all new converters you need to put like this, right? There is some converters that's already implemented here. So you need to put them, each time you need to put them in new line. So yeah, so now this will work perfectly. Let's run our app with the Maven Quarkus dev, and it compiled it perfectly. Let's go to our home, and you can see that we still have good tag. Why? Because we forgot to change the value. So we injected it, perfect, but we forgot to use it somewhere. So yeah, we'll replace the name in this style, right? So now if we refresh it, you can see that it's hello, and let's just for a check, let's change it to I don't know, test 1, 2, 3, whatever, right? So let's copy it over to, let's start it. So we don't change it one more time. Let's put it here, and let's refresh. So you can see the test 1, 2, 3, even though we specified here base 64 value. And so yeah, you can use it pretty much everywhere where you need to have something more complicated than a string or integer. Most of the time, like primitives will work perfectly, but for example, if you implement something similar to data sources or I don't know, some connections or something like this, converters and custom values will be perfectly fit for this purpose. Okay, I'll put a string, I'll put the name of a file that you need to specify in meta-inf services in a description, as well as you can see all the implementation in GitHub. And yeah, now you know how to create your own custom converters. I'll see you in the next lecture.